So how you doing, everybody? This is myself, Dr. Nick, and
David Turnbull.
And we're here with Cellular Fitness Series Episode 1, and we're going to be diving into intermittent fasting and a bunch of other topics related to that and how it relates to men versus women and macronutrients and all those things, and maybe what kind of diet is right for you.
Yeah.
Right?
So like that's the most common question that I always get asked as a fitness trainer. So
Yeah.
it's like, what is the best diet? That's the most popular thing.
So, oh man, yeah.
So
I get that all the time too.
yeah, and I love that question because they're curious,
Yeah.
and maybe they've been to somebody and they said they had a strong opinion that this is the only way.
Yeah.
So is there the best diet?
Yeah, well, what we say is that obviously we're all unique individuals, right? So what we teach is diet variation.
Yeah.
And that's, eating seasonally, eating locally, rotating out your macronutrients, maybe not always doing, one particular type of meal. You're just constantly changing things. We call this diet variation. And for us, we feel like this is the diet of the future. It's just listening to our body, looking at our geography, looking at our ancestry too, in fact, to look at all these different pieces and just be okay with varying things up.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you must see people too all the time that, some people are vegan, some people are vegetarian, people are going keto, paleo, and, for some people it works for a period of time.
Yeah.
And then at some point, like, oh shoot, it's not working anymore.
Yeah.
And again, this is another mechanism or realization that we need to come to, that this is why we vary things, right? So historically speaking, we've never been in a situation where we're always eating the same thing. We've had to rely on the land. We've had this, even if we're meat eaters, you're not going to be catching the same type of foods throughout the entire season, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And then, yeah, like you said, listening to your body, like the reason why you might have certain cravings is because maybe you're lacking something.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a certain nutrient that you're lacking. Maybe you're craving sweets, and then maybe you're just lacking a nutrient that you can get in another source of food other than just chocolate. Or maybe you need that chocolate.
Yeah, maybe you don't need those Fruit Loops.
Yeah, maybe you
right?
don't need those. Yeah. So that is the big question. So basically, it's kind of like listening to your body.
Yeah.
Recap.
And how do you do that, right? Like, so I mean, you teach this too from a fitness point of view, right? You listen to your body. If you're injured your shoulder, don't start doing overhead presses, right? You gotta start listening. So, I mean, you see it all the time, and I'm sure you see it too with clients looking for different diet suggestions, right? Yeah,
exactly. So in all areas of your life, we're just trying to be more in tune with ourselves, because life is very busy and we are all over the place. We need to get a certain amount of things done.
And on that note, we're all creatures of habit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so we're so used to doing the same thing over and over again because maybe we got results and it worked for a period of time, and then we just keep that going. But even, I mean, we talk about diet variation, but it's fitness variation, it's temperature variation, it's even friendship variation. Sometimes there's people that are bringing you down. You got to start to change things up, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, this is one of the tools that we teach everybody, even supplements, right? You got to vary everything. Think about how you can bring more variability in, and how this plays out down inside the body in your microbiology. It's actually how when you change what you're eating, these macronutrient ratios, the different types of fruits and veggies, and all this stuff, you're actually changing what bacteria grow.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a powerful shift. And then what we know from a longevity point of view is that the more varied, the more diverse your microbiology is, the longer you live, the less likely you are to die from, the various different chronic illnesses that show up. So, powerful stuff.
Yeah, and I like that you mentioned longevity, and there's so many fad diets out there and things that you could do to quickly get insane results in your mind in a couple of weeks, but how damaging is it to you? So lots of people, they're like, I want to go on this diet, blank, whatever it is, 2 weeks, and then they lose 10 pounds and they focus more on that. And the side effects from that is almost everybody I've witnessed is they gain that 10 pounds back plus more. Yeah. And so how damaging is it on your body, do you think? Losing 10 pounds, gaining 10 pounds, if you did that just every year, like, is it true that the same amount of fat cells constantly exist even if you lost that 10 pounds?
Right. Well, I think it depends on what kind of weight we're talking about, because we don't really know unless you're measuring, right? Are you losing muscle? Are you losing fat? Are you losing water? Like, what's actually shifting, right? Yeah. And if you are just in fact losing muscle, and if you are just in fact losing water, you're not actually improving metabolic fitness, right? You're not improving your cellular fitness to actually have any sustainable effects. But I think where it plays a bigger role than in the body is in the mind. Because you just start beating yourself up. You're like, I keep doing the same thing over and over. I keep getting, minimal results, or it's not working, or it worked for a period of time, now it's not. And I think it's more of a factor of the mind, I feel. I mean, you see it all the time too with the different people you train.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Almost everybody that I encounter, I always tell them to not focus on the weight.
Yeah,
just focus on getting healthier. It's inevitable that your body will naturally, if you're exercising regularly and properly and efficiently and eating healthy, that your body will naturally go to where it needs to go.
Exactly.
And if it doesn't for some reason, then I would consult another professional to see what's happening. Maybe there's something bigger. So that's what most people's goals are when they come see me first. They're like, I want to lose weight, I want to look a certain way. I'm like, okay, we can get there, but let's not focus on that at all.
Totally.
And then you don't have to do unhealthy things to get there.
Yeah.
And then it's sustainable. So wouldn't it be nice to just have a plan that's sustainable for life, and that you don't have to stress about here as much? And then when your stress is lower, so what happens? You know what happens when your body is less stressed. Like it's not in fight or flight mode.
Totally. Yeah. We talk a lot about this from a a nervous system point of view. So we've got our sympathetic state, which is our fight or flight, the run away from the tiger, the metaphorical tiger, which could be a relationship, it could be job, it could just be the demands of parenthood, or whatever. That chronic state, the sympathetic tone, or the sympathetic nervous system stress that is persistent, causes constant cravings. It causes spikes in cortisol, spikes in insulin. You're chasing your tail around for the whole day, and you're constantly needing some sort of nourishment, usually via carbohydrate or simple sugars, to just keep the engine running. And that sympathetic state, the high cortisol, high insulin state, is conducive to fat storage. That's exactly what it's doing. And it's so funny because I'm sure you see this too with just different changing fitness regimens, right? Like, it's why you don't keep doing the same thing over and over again. You switch things up so the nervous system go, I have to do something different. And so that parasympathetic state is the rest, the digest state, it's the anabolic state, it's the repair state. It's doing everything opposite to that fight or flight catabolic breakdown state, right? So this is the dance that we have to all experience, is to actually learn how to engage the vagus nerve, that parasympathetic state that communicates to every organ system in the body for repair. And that's the balance, right, that needs to happen. And
so it makes sense. So at the end of the day, it's actually more simple than you would think. It's just so many people are trying to sell you on what they think is their best idea. So I like proposing the question, like, from a child's mindset. Why? Ask yourself, like, why am I feeling this way? What is happening? If you see a professional, ask them why. Ask them lots of good questions. And see if they have the answers for you. And everybody is different. We're all very unique. And so what works for you might not work for me. But being in the health industry, we're lucky enough to see a whole variety of people. So we can suggest things that maybe 90% of the people this works for. And then maybe this works for other percentage of people. So if you have a professional, or just plan A or plan B, and if you don't fall in those two things, well, then get lost. That's not the right mentality.
No. And this is why so many people fall off the wagon, right? Because it could be the zone diet, it could be Jenny Craig, it could be, not to name drop on different things, a lot of these things do work, right? It's just, it's if we haven't shifted the mindset, if we haven't shifted our heart set, our relationship to it, if we haven't shifted our lifestyle, and if those around us, if our tribe isn't necessarily supporting us, there's so many different factors that come into play why, something didn't work. At the end of the day, it is very simple. You spend some time exercising, doing something you love that involves movement, you change what you eat, and then one of the key things that we talk a lot about is change when you eat. So you restrict your meal window, and these things together can be turned into a lifestyle, sustainable practice, and then we can sort of let ourselves off the hook. And I just want to go back to one of the things you said before. It's kind of like, it's a mind trick. When we say, I want to lose weight, all the brains understands, I lost something, I gotta get it back again, right?
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
It's so funny. We trick ourselves with our words, and it's powerful stuff. Like, the words are really potent, and how we relate to them and how we understand them, or how we think we understand them, is not necessarily how it's playing out in the body. And on that note too, it's when we're moving towards a healthier relationship with our food, with our exercise, with friendships and all these things, we always have to take into consideration that we have to first start to learn to listen, right? We talked about listening. How do you, what are some tools that you teach people on how to listen. And I could talk about it from the symptom point of view, from like symptoms that you go see a doctor for. But tell me some of the other things that the people can do to listen to themselves so they can start to make smarter choices.
So I really like even just writing things down, maybe journals. It could be fitness apps, writing down what you're eating, paying attention to how it affects you. Lots of people say, well, I'm bloated when I eat. And I'm like, well, what are you eating? Oh, I don't know. Yeah. So even little things about, like, if you had a journal or something that you can write down, I had this, feeling bloated. And then you have something to reflect on. Yeah. And then write down, how was your sleep? Same thing with your workouts. Like, how do you feel after the workouts? Are you more energized, or are you just like wiped? Yeah. Are you burning yourself out by exercising too much? So everything, it's about simplifying. And before all my knowledge, I used to burn out my body, do so much workouts, be super strict on the right diet. And now I realize it's more about efficiency. So even eating when to eat. If you're eating the same amount of food, but you're just changing the time, it's it's way more efficient. I do that. Totally. And then same with the workouts. I don't work out as much, but when I do, it's 100% proper or near close to that. And it's way more efficient. I save, from what I used to do, at least 5 to 6 hours a week. That's a lot of time. That is a lot of time. and you're very aware of your posture, and you're very aware of how movement matters. It's kind of like words matter. How you move in your body matters. Like if you're, moving inappropriately with a dumbbell or a weight system, I mean, you're just hurting yourself. You're engaging the wrong muscle set. You're not really, maybe you can speak to that too. That's huge. Yeah, so it's almost kind of like, there's a popular Netflix series out there and popular books about cleaning your house and treating things with joy. Right. So with our items, we create joy and stuff like that, but we don't create our bodies to have joy. So like if you're like moving in a state of joy, like listening to it, because most people walk around in a state of pain all the time. They just don't realize it. Yeah. The same way as maybe you had a bruise on your arm, and I said, oh, where did you get that bruise from? And before that moment, it didn't hurt. Yeah. And now you're like, oh wow, I just drew attention to it. Same with our postures. If you just know how to stand properly and sit properly, well, that's most of your day. If we can teach you little things about how to engage your core all day long, your real core, not just abs. So the difference of core and abs are completely different. I did a bodybuilding contest and I was shredded. I had abs, 0 core strength back then.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. So it's different. Yeah,
and it's a really good point, because it brings us to a discussion around looking on the outside for health, right? And we're so stuck in a culture. And I'm reminded of something that the Dalai Lama says. Like he says, here in the East, we have pictures of like, saints and beautiful images of flowers or different artistry and whatnot. In the West, you guys have pictures of like naked people or half naked people, and it's like, our constant programming, our subliminal messaging is always look on the outside for health. Yeah. And really, what we're speaking to is that's a piece of the puzzle, but it shouldn't be. All our attention shouldn't be there, right? It's not just about is my ab popping out, my top 2 or whatever that is. Yeah. It's more like, how am I feeling inside? Is there joy? Am I creating harmony in my relationships? Am I putting in the right food? Am I nurturing myself? Like it has to cross all those boundaries, right? Yeah.
And you'll get all those things too.
Oh, totally.
But you don't focus on it. If you focus on it so much, there's a high chance you won't get it, and you'll maybe go into depression, get anxiety, or other things like that. Yeah. But if you focus on joy and just being healthy, like the average person doesn't even walk enough an office job, unfortunately. Oh, totally. So if we just walk the bare minimum that we should every day, so that moving, maybe not even in the gym, and just a couple of extra healthy items a day instead of just mindless eating. Yeah. So I'm not like a hippie trainer or anything like that. I believe in a whole lifestyle, but
he does have long hair though.
Yeah, so. Exactly. So I can see how you get confused. But if you want something, just make all the decisions. So like if on the weekend for dinner, if I want a box of cookies for dinner, I'll go through all the decisions in my mind about like, how will this affect me? What will I feel? What will my sleep be like? I'll be snoring that night. It's going to upset my wife. Is it going to be worth that fight? Just kidding, Jessica. But I'm sorry. And then how will I feel the next morning? Will I feel kind of slower? Will I be interacting with people that day? Weigh all those odds. And at the end of the day, if you still want that, realize also it's an emotional connection probably when you're a child too. Totally. And then own it, have it. Don't feel guilty about it. You made that decision. So with everything you're doing in life, think about it a little bit. Make the decision, just own it. Don't regret it. You've done it, you made the choice. So I believe in instead of being
that's so good.
Like mindless and just doing things just because. just make the decision. So if you want to put that bowl of candy by you as you're studying or doing something, you made that decision.
Totally. Yeah. It didn't choose you. You chose it, right?
Yeah.
That's so good. And it's such an important point. I mean, one of the things that we teach a lot too, part of this variation, is having a feast day. And maybe you save your 1 day a week or 1 day a month or 2 times a month for just the pleasures in life that used to bring you joy in the past. But do it with a conscious mind, right? Like, this is the thing. We see people walking around in the haze, head in the phone and just mindlessly eating on different things throughout the day, where it just becomes so habitual that you've actually lost yourself in the moment. Bruce Lipton talks a lot about how the subconscious and the conscious mind, and up to the age of 7, a lot of our programming is in the subconscious mind. And he says, like, we've basically got a record button called the theta state, which is a brainwave state, and it's always on when we're like up to 7 years old, or maybe it's 10 or somewhere around that timeline. And so a lot of our habits have just come from being a kid, right? And we live in a culture of snack. Make sure your kids have a snack. They're playing soccer, give them a snack. Snacks are everywhere. Like, we're such a snacking culture. And so don't beat yourself up over it, but do bring attention to it, that this comes from being a kid. I mean, I remember even playing soccer practice. We have to have an orange snack. We had to stop and have a snack. We had to eat oranges. Like, there's no reason why we need to stop when we're engaged in exercise. Maybe we need to drink some water, but we don't need snacking. And so just get yourself off the hook a little bit just with regards to snacks, but do start asking those questions. Those are important questions. Own it. If you're going to choose it, you chose it. Own it, do it, and then just understand that there's consequences for not honoring it. And you may find, actually, just by choosing, the repercussions may not be as bad, because we put so much guilt and attachment to the perfect thing, and when we don't succeed on that perfection, we beat ourselves up.
And again, if you're beating yourself up, it's causing more stress and causing more harm. But like, if you were mindful and you did it, and you had whatever that item is, and you feel good, and it actually still pleasures you the next day and the day after that, and the day after, you're not eating it every day, but I mean, like, you're still sending, I love myself, and I feel good, I'm confident, and you keep telling yourself those positive things, you'll have a way more benefit in your life than constantly ripping ourselves apart or accidentally saying things like, I need to lose weight. I don't like me. I don't like most people are ripping ourselves apart, like so many things. So just stop the self-limiting thoughts. It is very challenging to do at the beginning. What I've done that worked for me in the past is, every time I catch myself, I just say either out loud or in my head, just be like, cancel, and then tell myself something more positive.
Print the right thing.
Or say, the new David does this. So it's not that the old David was bad. The new me now does this. So before, like, walking past McDonald's, when I eat McDonald's, then I'd be like,
McDonald's?
Yeah, I used to eat McDonald's. I still do sometimes. But
it's all honesty and truth.
There was a few years where I didn't do it at all, and I made that easy decision. I was just like, the new me doesn't do that, and I wouldn't be mean to the old me and saying because the old me was terrible and this and that. Just no, the new me just doesn't do that, and then it's easy for everybody to accept too. Because if somebody's like, hey, you want to go to McDonald's? Oh, sorry, the new me doesn't do that. If you want, we can go and you can have something. You can have some water or whatever. But, and then you can also look on the other side of like variation. Maybe I'm gonna apply a known stressor, a known inflammatory food. Now, we're not promoting anything here, but I mean, as long as you go in with the right mindset, right? The problem would be, though, if you're doing that obviously every day, or multiple times during the week or a few times in the month, like, if it's a constant regular thing, we're already inflamed enough. We don't really need to add more, but again, you create the mindset around it. One of the things I always teach our patients too is just on this mindset type training, which is, a lot of discussion is around this, which I think is actually good for episode 1, because just getting your mindset around this is really important. But and what we talk about is we have all of an ideal. We all want to be here, wherever here is. This could be, the perfect body, energy, best, having a phenomenal relationship, and everything's working well with work and business and career and what have you. That's the ideal. And the problem where people get stuck is that this can be seen as unattainable, or it's unattainable in the timeline you've given yourself, right? I can't remember who said this. Might have been the guy from Mind Valley, Vishen Lakhiani, where we overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in 3 years. So anyways, we have this ideal, and so what we do as a human being is we focus on where we're not.
So we focus on this gap or this lack, and so this ideal becomes unattainable. Where we really need to put our attention is on the gratitude for where we've come, because we've all like started somewhere. We've all eaten McDonald's regular times through the week. I used to eat McDonald's too. Whatever that was, we were somewhere. We are now here, and if we do take that mindset of looking back and going, okay, I did a decent amount of work in this last year, but where I was 3 years ago, 5 years ago, I mean, I'm completely different. I'm so much more congruent with my thoughts and my actions and those kind of things. And so when you focus your gratitude for where you've come, you can let yourself off the hook for where you're not. And I love that. And especially when we're, improving someone's metabolism and cellular fitness so that they can, have more muscular tone and shed some of that fat, the focus is really on, have I been applying some of these principles? How's the mindset? How's my hydration? How's my exercise routine? How am I feeling? Am I feeling joy? Am I nurturing myself with food? And you can start to have gratitude for all those experiences. And then we stop programming in, I'm not enough, I'm fat, I'm a horrible person, I always think negative thoughts, or whatever that programming is, and we start to erase it. And like you said, that's where the imprinting can come back in. You're planting those seeds of more supportive consciousness, a more congruent, mindset for what you want to achieve. Yeah, love that.
Yeah. So again, it's a wicked first episode for the mindset.
Yeah.
So just the takeaway from today, I think, would be the mindset. So be cautious of what you're going to say to yourself. Be kind to yourself.
Start writing some things down.
Write things down.
Yeah.
And just see if your statements, what you're saying, is true.
Yeah.
Many people are like, I don't have time for that. When it might not be a true statement. So just reflect, because I used to say that all the time. Oh, I don't have time. Now I don't say that at all. I just say to people or whatever I'm planning, that's just not a high enough priority this moment.
Yeah, that's good.
Because like maybe a friend comes and visits you out of town as a surprise. Well, you didn't have time for a whole bunch of things that week, but you made it enough of a priority where you wanted to see that friend. So just when you're planning your week or planning your month or planning your year, just figure out what your top values are for yourself. And then whatever you say and whatever you put out there, people will try and help you obtain whatever it is. You just have to actually believe it and everything like that.
Totally. That's an amazing message. Yeah. Cool. Okay, well, that's episode 1 of Cellular Fitness.
Yeah.
We'll be back from work.
All right. So leave us comments if anything particular you want us to learn or teach you below. And we're going to put these episodes out weekly. So we have a game plan, but we're always open to answering as many questions as you have.
Yeah, and controversially, we're open to challenging us, right? Like if you don't believe what we're teaching, please just share that. Do it in a nice way, do it in the nicest way possible, or not, but whatever. But it's helpful because there's so many myths to bust. There's so many imprints that we've been bought in the world that we live in. So just feel free to share whatever questions you have. But I love that. All right.
Awesome. Okay.
Another great episode.
Cheers.